Consistent with the governor's orders extending certain provisions of the open meeting law, every effort will be made to allow the public to view and/or listen to the meeting in real time. Persons who wish to do so are invited to click on the following link. If you do not have a camera or microphone on your computer, you may use the following dial-in number: 1-301-715-8592, meeting ID 823-1181-7169, passcode 4042882. Please, hold on. Please only use dial-in or computer and not both, as audio feedback will distort the meeting. This meeting will be audio and video recorded. In compliance with the Americans with Disabilities Act, this location is accessible to people with disabilities. Wakefield provides reasonable accommodations and/or language assistance free of charge upon request. If you are a person with a disability and require information or material in an altered format, or if you require other accommodation, please contact Town Disability Coordinator William Rowe, Town Engineer, at 781-246-6308 as far in advance of the event as possible. Every effort will be made to grant your request. Advance notifications will enable the town to make reasonable arrangements to remove an accessibility barrier for you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so Crescent Street, once again, it's December 8th. It's a little after 5. We left it off last time where, in fact, several renderings were showed, primarily to show different colors with different opinions. And the plans basically being upgraded to actually conform with the detailing, basically, since this has been in a mix for a while. And I think Peter and Andrew basically have at that point adjusted the plan so they actually work within the framework of the building. So since then, I had sent out to Peter some details I'd like to see, both in details and sections. So I assume those are ready. I think we talked about extending the rendering around the corner so we could see what Crescent Hill looks like, as well as Crescent Street. And the other thing was, I think we're looking for materials booklet, or at least materials on this project to prepare for a booklet to the board. And I think it's at the last board meeting, of course, they left it with this group, this subcommittee group, basically to work with you to get ready for I assume, for the next meeting with the board. The board, I believe, was satisfied that we had made quite a bit of progress over the last number of meetings, and we're happy with that. So now we need to take it into more detail and more of a realistic, like we did last time with the rendering and stuff like that, so that everybody can see what has been going on. So with that, I guess, is Andrew or is Peter going to do this?
I think Andrew and I are going to do it together, but yep. Steve's actually going to bring up the drawings. Teamwork. So.
All right, I got to. Who do I share with?
I have it too. If you want me to just do it,
you can bring it up. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I didn't know if when you went home you still had it ready to go.
See, I don't want to share my screen.
So tonight we have everything that you requested, I believe, except for the rendering on Crescent Hill. So we'll follow up with that, but we spent a fair amount of time on those details and working sectionally through the building to make sure that the roof systems were working the way the elevations are drawn. And that took a fair amount of time.
All right, so Andreas, I get down advanced co-host. How do I get to co-host? Because that seems to be the easiest way.
I think if you go to participants at the bottom.
Yeah, I got it, I think.
Yeah, click on more.
All it wants to give me is rename.
No, don't go next to your name. Go, who are you trying to make
Oh,
co-host?
okay. All right. So Andrew, it's you?
I can show it.
Okay, make co-host. You got it. Blast off.
Perfect.
Thank God Amy's here.
It's only
Can you guys
taken me
see
a
it?
year and a half to learn something,
You have enough Zoom meetings, Amy, between all your boards.
right?
The screen up?
Yeah,
Hands up.
Okay. Peter, do you want to walk through it and then?
Yeah, I'll
Chime
start,
in.
and feel free to jump in when
Yeah.
you want, if I miss things. We in the office made a call on calling out this color scheme, which is the blues and the grays and the gray roof. We've detailed the columns with stone on the exposed foundation. We've got several starting from left to right. It's roof condition 1 with the A dormers, roof condition 2, where the windows are cut into the mansard. Roof condition 2 happens again, then roof condition 1 happens again. And this kind of repeats across the building. So we've cut those sections to show when we get a little further in how the balconies work, how the dormers work in the particular locations that they're shown. How the porch roof works and how the overhangs and the brackets work, where the building is cantilevering and the roof is overhanging. There's been a fair amount of time in our own subcommittee meetings working with Rick and his team, making sure that the parking and the building now are completely cohesive. Spent time with a code consultant, making sure that egress from these garages works, width of aisles work. Really spending that time now so that we don't get blindsided when we get to construction. A significant change on this level of parking, which is lower, is we removed the stairway on the far left of this that used to go there. It's still above us, but at this level, it does not exist. And we were able code-wise to do that by widening the aisle and also adding man doors at this level to the exterior. So that helped us get. We were crunching for parking when as the building got tighter. So this helped us get the parking back. Then when you come up to the next level, you can see that stairway. You jumped on us, Andrew. There it is. That stairway comes back on the left. Has access out onto Crescent Hill. The other 2 stairs go all the way up through the building. We got this parking tight so that it works, both in access from Crescent Hill and also the way into the lobby. All of that, all the stair systems, these back apartments working now with the grades, the way they're going to go around the building. You can see that you may remember we flipped the gym area, which was on the right, is now on the left. And that's a grading issue because the windows are higher here. So we figured we'd use the full grade, full exposure on the right and put an apartment there. And that's what's gone on this level.
and you get to those units how?
So you can go through the building, right? Or these units have doors to the exterior. As you go, you can walk around the building there. Rick is grading it so that if you started on Crescent Hill, you can come in and you can walk around the whole back of the building and the sides. And eventually, I believe we're going to provide a stair down to the lower parking down there when we look at site information.
So the stairway that's on the left,
Yep.
is that an areaway that you walk out of?
It's a slope we're trying, all these entrances and exits, as you know, have to be handicapped accessible.
Yeah,
So there's about a foot of grade change. I believe I'm right on it, Rick, about a foot there that we're trying to slope gently down to the door.
About like a foot and a half.
Yeah, so that's what's going on there.
okay.
The other ones, we're able to go right out.
Yep.
Yeah, and the porch, as you know, we're using as handicapped.
Yeah, we got ramp right here.
Yeah.
So,
so as we went up through the building, and we had started this last time, we've now made sure that the rise and runs of the stair work, that the halls work, that the apartments now all have bathrooms and closets and washers and dryers and all those components that need to be in an apartment, and we're missing. Bedrooms have windows. Balconies are shown where balconies are shown, and balconies are removed where we did remove them. Some of that happening on the facade. And you remember, Jim, we had some up on the roof, we took those away.
Yep.
It was biting it, so we didn't continue. So these floors repeat. This building, I think, is unique to other ones that I've worked on, where there is some repetition floor to floor, but almost every apartment is a little bit unique. It's not cookie cutter as you work through there.
Yep. We're beginning to show where we're boxing out those windows for the dormers into the mansard on this level. So you can start to see them in all these units. And then also starting to show, roof lines here, where some of the AC units are gonna go. The outdoor terrace area on this side.
Is
And
that
then,
terrace for 1 unit or 2 units?
Just for the whole building.
yeah, this is from the hallway.
Oh, okay. All
Technically,
right.
anyone can get out there.
All right. So instead of, I think it was originally in the back section, now it's moved to the front section.
Yep, like we put the unit back there. And it was really Steve Buccelli wanted to have it so that the whole building could have that as an amenity.
Yep.
So that's why we worked it off the hallway like that.
Okay.
Okay. So now in these elevations, seeing the coordination of the roof lines, what we call the connector roofs. Scroll to those, Andrew, so that we can.
These ones,
There, and it happens on the other side of the building. Those roofs are a little bit different because they only project out 1 foot where all of the other soffits are 2 feet. And it's just, it's a factor of how far the main, I'm going to call them towers, but the main vertical projections of the building are only at 1 foot, and we wanted to hold that roof in so it didn't project out beyond that.
So the windows, and then you'll probably show me how the windows sit into that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
We will.
I'll hold my question until I see it.
Okay. And then now we're showing on the Crescent Hillside here how the grades are starting to work in the impact of that against the building.
Okay.
The next one, Andrew. Okay. So here you can see the rear elevation. You can see those doors into the units low. You can see some of the balconies here that were preserved. And again, on the next elevation, which is the right, how the man doors were showing venting now, which we didn't show before, into the upper and lower parking garage. We're trying to use the same size as the windows for those vents, so
Yep.
that it's consistent. Go ahead, Andrew. You can go to the next one, I think. So Jim, this is kind of what I think you were hoping to see, the different sections through the different areas of the building.
So in that first section, then where the window is on the top level,
Yeah,
so that roof, it just extends itself over the window? Is that what happens?
no, that's an A dormer coming at you. And Andrew took these and blew them up as well, but yeah. So what you're seeing is a cut through the A dormer rafter.
Uh-huh.
And that's sitting just below the upper mansard, right, where the mansard breaks. And then you can see the curve coming down.
Yeah.
In the background. And then us boxing out under the window to allow for the bracket to sit in.
So
basically,
what's
this
the,
right here is this right here.
oh, okay, all right. So that's the
Yeah.
pitched roof, that's the pitched roof area.
And
That's
then this was, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. this is detail for, when we cut into it. So this one, where you're not gonna see the A dormer, and instead it's inset in. You can just see how we're starting to, frame it in, ledger it
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Showing the 2x12 board that will then be cut to that angle.
yeah.
How it's gonna be boxed out and providing flashing above, and then where the window sits with the headers. So,
What you don't show is so much in those is more trim at the top of those windows, which looks like you've got what you've got in the rendering, basically to the left.
yeah, so we're providing it's roughly 6 inches of trim around, and that should be basically right here, also right above as well.
Well, I'm thinking at the edge of the roof where it meets the window. It's at this scale, it's difficult to tell what you're doing, what you're intending to do as far as trimming the two out to one another. The header of the window and the edge of the roof. I mean, you've got some materials shown there listed, but I think I'd like to see it blown up a bit just so that can see whether there's enough depth and character in it. So that it does what you're showing in the rendering, basically in the detail. Just a little
Makes
more,
sense.
just a little more information is all.
Yep,
You can scroll up, Andrew, and show the other ones now if you want, since we're kind of zoomed in on it.
are you saying this one here or go
No,
up?
back to your details. That was helpful to just kind of look at them closely. Then we can go globally after, I think.
Okay,
So these are those little entry roofs, Jim, that we're showing over the doors.
Yeah,
Sometimes public, sometimes private.
yeah,
That's what's going on with those in detail, similar bracket. Here we're showing the detail of the roof deck over a conditioned area, how we're using 2x10s. And then
what are the brackets made of?
pipe
Okay,
That's an actual bracket. We actually called out the tag, the code of it.
okay, yeah, I see that.
You see it?
I saw something recently, basically, where it was a foamed bracket or something like that.
Yeah,
Rather interesting because it easily cut, easily formed and everything else. Okay, go ahead.
we'll get one from Fightline as well, Walk too. We'll have them send us a couple. So we can look at them. The detailing of the sleepers and the 2x6, I'm sorry, 2x4 PT above to create the deck and create drainage above the conditioned space below.
Yeah,
And here we showed some pipe-on dental work at the porch. And it also happens underneath some of the overhangs where the building is cantilevering like that. We've picked that out and called it out, and then the AZAC above. And then this detail on the right is the detail of the column with the stone veneer. And it's a veneer on the column as well, a pipe-on wrap with a structural column underneath.
okay,
I should tell you that we also had a meeting with the structural engineer and looked at the garage and future columns that are going to go in there, where beams could go, talked about what we allowed floor to floor so that we have enough beef in there to take the structure.
what's the construction, basically garage level to garage level to living level?
Yeah, so the garages are going to have to be, I believe what we're thinking there is concrete plank in the garage.
Yeah, okay.
And then we're going to switch to wood above that, right? And truss systems.
Uh-huh,
And on this drawing on the far left, we went ahead and if you zoom in on that, Andrew, where you're calling out the materials.
Yep.
Here we went through and called out the product, the color, the windows, the all of it.
Was that dental molding always there?
Yes, it was in the last one we looked at, yes.
Okay.
I was, I was wondering, can you go back to the full rendering?
Yep.
Is this the green one? This is not, this is the green one, huh?
No, that's the blue one.
No, this is the blue one. We as a team decided blue, but we can always go back for green. Just as far as, calling out all the colors and stuff like that in the detail sheet. We
Was
wanna
this the
stay
same blue
consistent.
or did you change the blue?
No, it's the same blue.
It's darker than the one, I got two computers up here. It seems darker.
Yeah, it
That's why I
does.
was getting confused on this thing. So just whether it's green or blue is neither here nor there in a moment here, but I'm looking at this thing and in the middle section where the entry is and the flanking elements on either side of that middle section stick out beyond the building, all right?
These ones.
No, just take in like from where the balcony is on the right and to the balcony on the left.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So that's a component that sticks out beyond the face of the building.
You're saying this below?
No, I'm saying on the second and third floor and the roof, basically, they come forward of the right and left on.
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
They're a light gray, okay? I was wondering whether this is crazy, and I'd have to see it to see whether it's worth it, is whether that center section basically that sticks out should all be the dark color and the lighter color be the two wings on right and left beyond them to look like they're additions. Although I think then it makes it more of a mass than what's shown right here because it's more broken down
Yep.
between the colors. So I was just looking at it in the green tone basically and thinking whether that made sense. But I think without rocking a boat here, I'll leave that alone for a moment.
So Peter just lost power. I just want you guys to know. I'm actually gonna put him on my cell phone just so he can at least hear till he gets power back.
He's got to pay his bills.
I know. Town
Lost
shut him
power in
down.
his building or on his phone?
I think in the building, because Steve also texted me saying the same. So
All that work they're doing on Albion Street.
yeah, they're doing all that work. It's not the first time we have lost power here. Hey. Okay, sounds good. But he's gonna try to log in on his phone. So were you almost saying, Jim? I mean, that the kind of style that we had going with the colors on the green version, but with these colors, is that? Or were you saying the darker gray coming towards, was it the front?
Well, I was just, when I look at this, I'm wondering whether that center section wants to stand up as like the original building. So it's all in
I
the same
gotcha.
color. That one and the right and left. Yeah,
Yeah.
all in the same color,
Yes.
like it's the original building. And then the two on either beyond that, which is the far right and far left, whether they would be in the light gray color. And whether that, but then I wasn't sure how to turn the corner. So, and we haven't seen turning the corner yet, so it's,
We'll
and
get that. Next one.
and I'm coming around to Amy's way of thinking green might be a good thing. How's that, Amy?
I like it. I'm writing it down.
So you don't like this color combination, Amy?
I actually do. I really like it.
You like the gray?
Yeah, I think because I saw the green originally and I really, because I love that military green color and I really liked it and I thought it would fit in nice. But then I saw this, I'm like, I like this one too. But I never like both options. I usually don't even like one.
Take that as a compliment.
No. No, I mean, I think the coloring on this one looks nice, and I think how it's broken up looks nice. It doesn't make it look like it's as big of a building and in your face as much.
Well, the other, it's lighter, basically than the green in a way. But I'm wondering, this is sort of like, at this point, we've seen a lot of gray buildings, basically from stuff that's come through the board. Would it make sense to sort of mix it up a bit in town so that all the new buildings don't have the sort of same ambiance to them? And I mean, not that this looks like any of the other buildings in town that we put up, basically, because they're more modern, but I'm up to hear comments from board members, basically, as to whether green or gray is the right thing. Because I'm like you, I could go with either one. Really, after I settled in on it.
Yeah,
So that says a lot in itself, that that either option would be acceptable to us. I'm not sure how the board would feel about it, but
right.
Andrew, you putting the fieldstone on the elevator, penthouse there?
Yeah, I know we had talked about that last time, almost kind of making it look almost like a fireplace, it's
Chimney.
obviously a lot bigger, but yeah, the chimney. So we're showing that up there as a stone, wrap on veneer, very similar to how we're wrapping the foundation. But we're open to suggestions on that too.
No,
No,
I like it.
yeah,
I
no,
like it.
I think it's a little more massive than it looks when you look at it in 3 dimensions, but I think it would be better, the best way to hide it, quite frankly.
Mhm.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, a building like this historically, Jim, would have a big chimney, right? I mean,
Oh, it would have multiple chimneys.
yeah. So, I mean, the fact that it's big kind of fits with the character.
Well, the bigness is that normally a chimney would be, big and fat in one direction and narrower in the other, half the width in the other direction, so to speak. So, but when we see this, you're going to see it basically a little bit bigger, but it's also in the middle of the roof. You're not going to see it so much downhill as you will from uphill, because it's going to get hidden by all the roofs and all the stuff that goes on. So downhill is not an issue. And even in the direction we're looking at, we'll never see this building face on like this. We're going to be downhill basically by the tire place or on Main Street, basically. So we'll never see it. It's just uphill, and I'm fine with it, quite frankly. So what else we got?
I think that's it for us.
All right, so Brian,
Yeah.
I think you're right in that one more meeting, because what I'd like to think, if we can get this to roll, we can roll this up, and that's what I think you wanted to do, is with the conditions and stuff like that. But I think what we need a booklet that would have the same stuff we always have, basically, from the colors. And in that colors, basically, we could have 2 different colors, or you can show 2 different renderings, basically, one green, one gray. But then, the details basically on that, not just the architectural ones, but if you've got these brackets or some of that other stuff, basically, that you're buying products of, is in the book as well. The railings, just like we've done on North Avenue projects or the ones on Salem Street, basically pull together a booklet that basically will list all of that stuff. Along with the details you're already shown, and a few more focus details, I think.
We
And
can,
whoever you're thinking of using for windows as well.
and if we can get samples of the colors too, because I'd like to make sure that the colors we're seeing match really well. I just want to make sure that the actual colors have that same harmony.
Yeah, like you drop a board off down at the building department, basically, or 2 boards, however many it takes, or samples or whatever. down there labeled so that we can, so that board members can look at it, assumingly ahead of time, if possible.
Can definitely try. We'll reach out to
So
James Hardy.
let's talk about what the goal will be, Jim. So we're scheduled to meet with the board a week from tonight.
Yeah,
And, you know, the board would normally like to see something submitted by Friday, right?
yep.
So, and Andrew, are you gonna work on renderings from the other sides?
So we can definitely do like a graphic like this on the
Yeah.
Crescent Hill side. So you kind of
What
see it.
sides do you
from those-
want, Jim? Did you want all sides? What do you want?
No, just Crescent Hill. I'm not gonna drive people crazy by saying we gotta do the whole
Okay,
perimeter of the building.
all right, so Crescent Hill, and then you want to
I mean,
present,
I think there's gonna have to be, depending on where this goes, I think there's gonna have to be some studies on the other sides of the building as to how you undulate the colors, all right?
Yep.
But I was more interested in seeing how it walks up color-wise, how it walks up Crescent Hill, which these are the two sides that really get seen by everybody, Crescent Hill and Crescent Street. So I'd like to see renderings on both of those, and not necessarily all the way around, but then somewhere along the line, and maybe it's after the board makes a decision, basically, is deciding as to how the color undulates on the rest of the building. Now, this certainly sets the pattern for the rest of the building, but without having actually see it, it's difficult to picture it at this
Yeah.
point for anybody. But I don't know that we need to do the whole perimeter.
Yeah, and I don't think in this kind of detailing, it will be that much work anyways for us to add color to even the rest of the elevations, even if it's just more preliminary and not as detailed as this, just to show how it goes from the blue to the gray and the
Well-
darker gray below.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that for sure.
so I'm wondering, and then you want us to be able to show the board both the green and the blue guys, for them to talk about it?
I think I'd like to, because I'm, I, like Amy, basically could go either way, although she now has seems like a preference for gray. And I expressed a preference for gray originally, but now I'm sort of, I'm on a knife edge basically here, either or either. And I think, Brian, we already have the green and gray. All right. So if they're prepared to show the gray on the turn of the corner, let's leave it at that and say, there's also a second color we looked at, which is the green.
Yeah.
And let them see the two basically, but let's only do a wrap on the gray.
Got it. You got that, Andrew?
I just don't want to go crazy here, really.
And I think it makes more sense if we're both fine with either color, I think, and it's you and I that are usually the ones that are more keen to that stuff, where the rest of them kind of, that's not their forte. I
Yeah.
think it makes more sense for us to just kind of say, we liked both colors, unless somebody's really opposed to this color and we say there's a green that we liked as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it makes more sense just for us to kind of pick it here unless they have some major kickback. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, are you saying that you wouldn't recommend showing them the green?
I mean, if you want to show them maybe just the one picture that we've already seen, I don't think I would make them do any more work with it.
No. Okay. You're on the same page I am then. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah.
Awesome. We can definitely do that. No
So do
problem.
you want to see, Jim, some further changes here before we submit to the full board? Or do you think Andrew's got enough guidance here to put a package together that is,
I don't, the plans are done, so to speak. They now work and they, within the framework of the building. There might be a few more labels on it or something like that. I'll leave that to them. It's certainly, I don't see much. I mean, the stats, well, you got the stats on here. So the stats about how much parking there is, what the unit mix is, that sort of stuff, which is, I believe, already on all of the boards.
Yep.
So I don't think he has to do anything there. And then we've got the landscape. I don't think we've changed anything in the landscape. really. There might be the walkway stuff around the backside, basically, maybe that's gotta be picked up in the landscape. Any sort of tweaking that's come about because of the plan changes and anything that basically should be reflected in the landscape. And then I don't know that there's anything anything more on the civil at this point.
Rick, you want to touch on that?
Whoop. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, we're perfectly coordinated at this point, all the door locations, grading all the way around the building, the drainage. We did get a letter from the town engineer, which we're resubmitting today. After this, just to make sure everything is coordinated. So I think Jim's right. I don't think there's much more left on civil.
Okay, so.
So I think what the board was looking for us to do basically is pull the loose ends together, which had to do, you know, we hadn't looked at colors. We hadn't looked at details. So they're looking for us to basically say and make a recommendation on color, or at least, you know, in a bunch of the details and like, so that what we've all been looking at and working on so hard basically is nailed down in the final approval documents, assuming it gets approved. So, you know, and at this point, it's just things around the edge. I don't see adding anything to it, quite frankly, Brian.
Okay, so you don't need to, you think Andrew can put together a package? We can do that. Does that make sense? You don't need to see it before it goes in, what the final package he's gonna put together. It's pretty much, we've got it.
I think as long as he feels comfortable with what we're saying, right?
Well, I
I
just,
do.
yeah, I mean, the only thing that's not here at this point is the booklet, all right? Which shouldn't, well, now I'm thinking, okay, so light fixtures on the outside, if we're doing vents on the outside for, I mean, someone's gonna ask where are the vents for the dryers and stuff like that, which don't show up on the elevations.
So we were actually talking about that, and a lot of it, I think we can actually hide underneath the mansard. So we
Yep.
can vent underneath these overhangs. So we're able to get it out the floor joists and basically into underneath the mansards in a lot of spots. Like
All right,
here,
well,
we can go,
be ready for the question, because it's gonna
Yeah.
come up, all
for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
You know, lighting, what do you do for lighting along the walkways? What do you do for lighting at the garage area? Obviously, we don't like wall packs, so, you know, something that's gonna be appropriate. And is there any lighting at the front that might highlight the garden or anything like that, or stuff like that? We did talk a little bit about a tree or two along the sidewalk in the front. I don't remember where that ended up. There was a tree there. I don't think it's in good shape.
it's a mess.
I think by the time the construction's underway in this thing, anything that's on that street edge and sidewalk edge is gone anyway. So it should be replaced, and maybe one, maybe two. I don't know how many you could even fit there, but it'd be nice to continue the street trees anyway.
Rick, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Street trees in front.
Yeah, I mean, there's a grass strip there. There's room to put them in. I can
There's
I
one-
can reach out to the landscape architect and have him make some recommendations.
It would be good. I don't think you can get more than two, and there's one there now. It'd be nice to do something out there. Will help disguise the building to some degree as well.
We spent all this time on this beautiful architecture and you want to hide it?
Well, it shows up in the fall.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Plus, I don't think the trees are gonna be the same caliper that Chip would want.
No.
Right.
He'd want a sequoia in there first day.
No doubt. Yeah, I'll reach out to the landscape architect and see his thoughts on incorporating a couple of street trees in there.
I'd say, Brian, I guess if someone wants to send me something on Friday, say morning, it's the booklet or something like that. Certainly I'll look at it and make a comment.
Okay, that'd be helpful.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
I think at this point I've listed what
yeah.
I'm thinking.
Okay, so we should be in a position to submit this by Friday. The other thing I have on my list is, the board, Amy, remember, wanted us to kind of go through the Tarrant Lane thing on some of the conditions to expand them. I've started that. I'd like to, have another meeting with you and Jim to kind of focus on that a little bit. Because if you remember, that was one that I'm in the process of updating the waiver list. Rick, you're gonna have to freshen up your setbacks on this building now that we have some of the overhangs, because does some of these overhangs have living space that go outside the foundation, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to account for that, Rick, with setback.
Okay.
Okay,
I was wondering that about the mansard, if it was gonna be impeding the sidewalks at all.
So
Like-
there's no real living area jutting out and past the mansards besides the window boxes, but in each of the corner of the main building, we do have like a 2-foot overhang with living space in it, so I can show and plan.
yeah, let's take a look at that.
So like right here, right here.
We can't see it.
Oh, yeah, I stopped share. So yeah, each of the corner of the main building. So right here, it's overhanging 2 feet on each side, right here, and then over here as well. And then this becomes flat, so.
Is that gonna be something that you're gonna have to worry about with ice, like icicles dropping on the sidewalk? How close is that?
How far is it to the property line? It's not real.
Rick, do you want to pull up maybe your plan? Or actually,
Hey, look, it's. A second here.
I can also go on my email real quick and pull it out.
Let me look back at your. So where are we talking about? The porch area? That's the
Just any of
closest,
those areas that hang over, is it gonna, when the icicles form on the edge of it, is that gonna, and they fall, is it gonna fall to the sidewalk or?
Andrew, does the mansard in no case hangs out further than the porch, does it?
Like to the front of the porch, basically Crescent Street?
Correct.
No, it doesn't.
So our porch, for instance, is set a little more than 3 feet off the property line.
Our
So
porches.
I would say no. Yeah, it
Yeah,
gets as
then-
close as 2.6 feet up by Crescent Hill.
There's gonna be no mansard roofs like overhanging onto any of the sidewalks on Crescent Hill or Crescent Street. Just looking at the plan now.
Yeah, Crescent Hill, we have a pretty decent setback.
Yeah.
Crescent Hill, where
The only place I would see that potentially happen, and you have to have the right storm for it to happen, because it would be at the entry to either garage, either side, or the driveway on the right and the entry to the garage on the left.
so the entry to the garage on the left is set 8 feet off the property line.
Right here.
So we got an 8-foot buffer there. So I would say no, there's no chance
Yeah.
for it
Yeah,
to fall into the sidewalk.
And
It'll land on our property for sure.
even on the right driveway, it looks like by your plan that it drops into a
Yeah, we have a pretty
curbing,
big landscape
curbing
setback.
area.
Yep.
Even in the back here too, so. I don't see no problems with that.
Okay.
how far out do they go? How far out do those overhangs go? Andrew, how many feet?
So the actual living area goes out 2 feet
feet,
overhang from the
okay.
first to second floor.
Okay.
And then
but they're
most of those
allowed under
mins
the
are-
bylaw. It says the aggregate of the maximum horizontal footprint of the area of all buildings, exclusive of cornices, eaves, gutters, chimneys, steps, unenclosed porches, balconies, and terraces. Such cornices, eaves, gutters, chimneys, steps, unenclosed and uncovered porches, balconies, and terraces may extend beyond the minimum yard requirements, but in no case in excess of 5 feet beyond the minimum. But those are living areas. Those aren't terraces or. So I think, Rick, we've got to take a look at those overhangs with its living area, and we've got to put our setback from there, not the foundation. Follow me?
Yeah, Andrew and I can get together on those and make
Yeah.
sure that we.
So we
have
make
those
sure we get
coordinated.
the appropriate relief.
Okay.
You know what, Andrew, it'd be good if, can you send me a rudimentary drawing? That just has the outline of the building and then the outline of the overhangs.
Yeah, the floor living overhangs, correct? Or the eave overhangs?
Brian, it's anything, it's living space or is it the eve overhangs too?
Living space.
Anything in
Yeah.
living space?
So that would only be the, what you have right here.
So there'll be the window boxes, right?
Those window boxes are actually set into the eaves technically, if you
Yeah.
were to,
No, I'm not
Yeah,
worried about
technical-
those. Go back to the plan, Andrew.
Yep.
We can't see it.
do you want the site plan or our plan?
I want your plan where you showed those areas.
Yep.
Right, those bump outs, right, where the dashed lines are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the area, Rick. See it?
Yeah, we should have those on our site plan.
Okay. I just want you to account when you do your setback calculations, Rick. To account for them because they're living area. So those are kind of like overhangs where you could walk, they overhang, but you can walk out into that area, right, Andrew?
Like walk under, you're saying?
Yeah,
Yeah. Everyone besides over here, it starts getting, with the grade.
well, go to
That's it.
the next floor up. Go to the next floor. So you see those bedrooms? There's your overhang, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're living area. Yeah, so we got to,
Yeah, we'll have those accounted for.
okay, that's fine. So I'm wondering, Jim and Amy, if you guys might be available Monday, potentially, or Tuesday, to just do a meeting to talk about some of those conditions.
Monday or Tuesday.
Jim, I think that'd be a good idea. I mean, we won't submit anything to the board, but I'd like to be able to tell the full board that we're working on that.
And what are we working on?
That's, if you remember, I presented draft conditions, which the chair said was a good start, but then he referred back that the Tarrant Lane, as an example, had a lot more conditions pursuant to a 40B. And he wanted us to go through that decision and kind of work with you guys to pick and choose what might be appropriate to incorporate into this. So I'll be able to bring that up on the screen and we can kind of go through it.
Okay. Let's see. I'm fine Monday or Tuesday.
What works for you, Amy? I can make,
That's what I'm pulling up right now. Hold on one second.
Andrew?
Let me look.
I don't know if we're gonna need the architects on this. Or-
No, I've got Andrew.
Yeah.
In the market elevations that I gave you guys that was 1111.
Yep.
There are several window elevations, basically. I'd like to see a few more that you haven't included in the stuff you've got.
Okay.
If you can work those out, because I want to know what the trim is around them and the like. It might even be an isometric type of thing or something, but whatever you can do to describe, bring it
I got
together, blow up and bring information into it, okay?
Yep. So not so much more of a section, but more of a detail of how we're trimming it out and how everything.
Yeah, so we know what the trim is going to be and that sort of thing and what the thickness of that is and the like. along with, like I said earlier, about the cornice edge, basically, how that
Yep.
details out with trim.
So Monday or Tuesday, I can only do Monday at like 6 or later.
So Tuesday's no good. Monday's the best name?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have subcommittee meetings and meetings both days.
Yeah, I'm fine. Whatever, I can make anything work. So whatever works for you guys. So you want to say 6 o'clock on Monday? Amy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Jim, can you book it with Gail?
yeah, I will.
Great. Okay. I don't think, I'll be very organized for that meeting. I'm gonna kind of, I'll lay it out to you guys for you to decide what you think is needed.
All right, I'll have to do a little homework ahead of time.
Yeah, you know what I can do is I'll email you the Tarrant Lane decision in Word format, so you have it.
Yeah, okay,
And that way you can pick, you'll have time to go through it.
all right.
That might help. I think we can be pretty efficient. Think we're good?
I think so.
Yep.
All right. With that, we'll close the meeting at 5:57 on the 8th for Crescent Street. And we'll resume a meeting on Crescent Street just to deal with the conditions on Monday. I'll make an appointment for 6 o'clock on Monday. PM,
Does that
PM, not
give us
AM.
the 7 Yeah. Does that give us the 72 hours?
48 is all you need.
Oh, we only need, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And that's the end of it. Thank you.